People want to believe they are part of the bigger group. One of the primary purposes of POTUS holding a rally is to demonstrate the massive appeal, energy, and size of this movement. What is obvious and true? Why does POTUS mention crowd size at each and every rally? What is projected by the MSL? Lies becomes truth. Truths become lies. Smoke and mirrors. You are the majority. People united and awake is their biggest fear. Do you think it's a coincidence we are being attacked aggressively by some of the biggest media corporations in the world right after our return? If we are simply a conspiracy or LARP, or some kid living in a basement as stated repeatedly, why do the world's largest media companies continue to dedicate so much attention and time to attacking us? Billion-dollar companies expending resources to stop a LARP. Billion-dollar companies expending resources to attempt to shape the mindset, to prevent and slow digestion of the masses. You attack those you fear the most. Why does the media rush to shape events? Why are the same keywords always used? Psych 101. If you see and hear the same thing over and over again. They do not want you thinking for yourself. They do not want you intensify. Enemy of the people. You.
Wow, isn't that a jamming tune, man? What's up, Carrie? Hey, Derek, how's it going? We got a lot to talk about, but if you want to skip the whole video here, just rely on God, family, and country, and you will be fine. Stay aligned with your God. Put your trust in Him, and everything's going to be just fine, right, Patriots? There's so much to talk about right now, and you can just keep following this stuff all around, all day, all night, and yeah, you can stay up on what's going. You can actually watch the show that's going on, but just know that our guy's in power right now. He's got a plan. His plan is working like a maestro. He is playing this network of world dominance right now, and we are winning. We are definitely winning. So just rest assured on that, and it's just fun to watch all the stuff that's going on, because there is a lot going on. We did a broadcast 4 days ago, and I got like 2 pages of notes, so we might be here a while. And we're just going to take it slow and easy today. I'm not going to try to rush through anything. I'm in a nice spot here, and it's pretty peaceful here. And I'm just feeling a world of confidence right now in what's going on with Trump and his team. And the victories that we've been having so far are leading us to the next victories that will happen again and again in the future here. So thanks for joining me, Patriots. I'm Jericho. Hey, what's up, We the People MAGA? Good to see you, Rebecca. And we got a bunch of other patriots here in the chat, and it's so good to see you guys. I'm glad you're all still in the battle, still praying. I mean, that's the one thing. Don't skip praying, man. Don't forget about praying for our patriots that are in action. And the central casting characters are out there in the forefront on the media, but there are hundreds and thousands more unseen, unheard patriots in the background that are fighting this fight for us. And they're fighting this fight for us because our system works. Our 250-year system that we have gotten going here is working. And if we allow the enemies of this system to prevail, then we're going to lose this battle. So it is essential that with God's hand, by God, we will have our country back. How's it going, Carrie? So, man, we got a lot has happened in the last couple days. I think when we left it off, we had a Republican in the House of Representatives is trying to bring forth some type of a bill that's going to give amnesty to a lot of the illegals that haven't broken any other laws other than coming into the country illegally, which is ludicrous. We voted to deport all the illegals. Anybody that's trying to dilute that message, dilute that task at hand, is an enemy. And they are not MAGA. They are not Make America First. They are enemies of the system, and they want these illegals to stay here. And those are the designated replacements for me and you in this country, and we cannot let them prevail. But we got people in the Republican Party right now that are saying, not only are all the Democrats in favor of leaving all the illegals here, but we have moles in the Republican Party, and those are the ones that we got to get busy right now to get out of there, vote them out in the primaries. And that's happening now. Texas, I think, launched it off. Our primaries here in Pennsylvania are going to be in about a month, and that's the time we have to get busy. We got to vote out these rhinos. That's part of understanding the system of elections here in this country too. Every election is riggable, and we're fighting against that system diligently. It's a long, hard battle. But the primaries are a different type of an election than the main elections, where we're actually voting for a person to be seated in the government. The primaries are where each party designates who is going to represent that party in an election. So if you don't understand that, it's confusing. It's all confusing by design. And if you just put your trust in God, everything's going to be all right. But we need your help. We need you to vote. Absolutely need you to vote. You can't not vote. If you're not voting, you are allowing other people to vote for you that are going to replace you with these illegals that have been injected into this country. So the person who wants to keep all the illegals here is a Republican gal named Maria Salazar in Florida. So all you patriots in Florida, if this woman is up for election right now in the primaries, she has been identified as a rhino. She has been identified as an enemy of the MAGA principles of taking this country back. And Maria Salazar has to get voted out. I don't know if she's up for election right now, but she is one of the ones that has introduced a bill to keep the illegals here, which is ludicrous, man. So I don't know, Carrie, if you know about that. I know you're down in Florida there. I don't even know if Maria Salazar is up for election right now, but if she is, in fact, she should be, because she's a House of Representatives person, and they go up for election every 2 years. So If she was elected in an even year, then she should be up for an election right now. And I hope somebody's running against her right now. Enemy of MAGA, Maria Salazar. Some other good things that have happened is members of Congress are self-deporting. They are just taking themselves out of the battle. This whole thing with Eric Swalwell. Of course, we heard about Eric Swalwell years ago with this Chinese spy named Fang Fang, and that all came out like 10 years ago or somewhere around there. So it's just weird that these things just cycle through until they catch. And finally, the one on Eric Swalwell has caught up to him. He has self-deported out of Congress. Charges should be imminent in the future for him because these women victims are coming forward and saying that they were raped, and that charges should be forthcoming for Eric Swalwell. There's also another guy who's his friend who is a Republican. I can't remember all these people's names. It makes your head swim, but he's under the scrutiny now. Nancy Pelosi came out and said she had no idea that Eric Swalwell was such a sleazebag. And that's unbelievable. That is not believable whatsoever. So they're lying their faces off to keep in power. We got to stay with it and just make sure we're voting them out of office and cleaning up the elections at the same time so that two cities in a state can't overturn the will of the people in one single state, which is how the cheating has been working really well here in Pennsylvania, at least. You don't got to cheat everywhere. You only got to cheat in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, and then you rule the state of Pennsylvania. Same thing with like Kansas City rules the whole state. You know, there's so many people consolidated in these urban areas that they just cheat in those areas and can control the entire state by that. So all of this has been exposed to us over the last couple of years as we've been paying attention, as these facts have been coming out, that's the cheat is on. There's many different ways of cheating. The election machines themselves aren't the only thing. Extended voting period, million ways of cheating, and they've done them all. But one by one, we're going to pick them off. Patent that system in order to win the majorities it's going to take to restore the system so that it works efficiently, so that the consent of the governed is elected into office. That's what we need in this country, is a government that is the consensus of the governed. That's what it says in the Declaration of Independence. So the Democrats had all this information on Swalwell years and years ago, all throughout the FJB administration. Nobody said a peep about it. So this is how they control the people, okay? They had dirt on Swalwell, and as long as Swalwell acted obediently to the Democrats' principles and he behaved himself and voted the right way, they would allow him in there. But as soon as he went off the plantation, as soon as he did something, as soon as his power went to his head and he thought that he could actually run for governor of California and win, that's when the Democrats pulled the plug on their own, on Eric Swalwell, and they got him out of office. That happened in 5 days, Patriots. Just see what just happened. If you were paying attention for the last couple of days, this is how they operate. The Democrats will attack their own if they step out of line. And basically, I would imagine that every single Democrat has got dirt on them. There's a blackmail file at the DNC on every single Democrat representative, and that's how they keep everybody so in line. Trump constantly is remarking how he marvels at how well the Democrat Party sticks together. Well, it isn't because they just stick together. It isn't because they all agree on the same things. It's because they all got dirt, and they all are being held they're all being blackmailed into voting and speaking the way that they they are told to do. As soon as they step out of line, they're out. Swalwell's been controlled for years, and he just stepped out of line. He's out of there, man. It's called blackmail. So who else is like that in the government? What other Democrats are controlled? Ilhan Omar, okay? Here you got a woman, fraud case after fraud. Every 2 weeks, another multi-million-dollar fraud comes out about Ilhan Omar. She married her brother. She broke the immigration laws. She divorced her brother and married her millionaire husband, who then started defrauding the Health and Human Services programs in the state of Minnesota. There's tons and tons of dirt on Ilhan Omar, and most of it's out in the open now. But the Democrats themselves will not act on her, on getting her out until she goes against the Democrat plan, right? That's why she's still in office. There's another gal named LaMonica McIver who attacked federal agents at an ICE facility. Do you remember that? Like a year ago, this kind of chubby woman went with the protesters to an ICE facility, and she started like pushing around ICE agents. And you know, you and I, if we just touch an ICE agent, we get assault charges, right? Or if we just touch a libtard, we get assault charges. She was in there pushing them around. Nothing happened to LaMonica McIver. I think she's a New Jersey representative. So all you patriots in New Jersey, if she's up for re-election, well, she's a Democrat. They're all going to vote for her anyways. Never mind. All right, I see Kerry said that Salazar is up for election. All right. This is where the chat comes in, the network of viewers here. Unfortunately, Salazar is from Miami, and she is all in for the immigrants and Haitians. Yes, she is. And yes, she is up for re-election. So a lot of times, the GOP won't even offer an alternative there. And that's the time you got two options at that point in your primary. You can just not vote for Salazar. You can write in Mickey Mouse so that hopefully the GOP gets the message. But if Salazar is your chosen representative by the GOP in the election, you're going to have to hold your nose and vote for her. In the way that things are right now, I know this sucks, but you got to hold your nose and vote for her because she's better than the Democrat, right? At least we got that. At least we can pressure her if she wins her election to conform to the Make America Great agenda, basically. There's another gal named Sheila Sherfilis. I don't even know how to say her name, man. She got caught stealing $5 million from FEMA, okay? She's an elected person in the House of Representatives right now. They just caught her stealing $5 million from FEMA. As long as this person's allowed to stay in Congress, we cannot trust the government, because here we have a proven fraudster ripping you and I off, and she's allowed to hold her seat in Congress. There's also something called the hush money slush fund in Congress, and they all voted almost unanimously. There was bipartisan support to not release the names on this congressional hush money system that they have. And this is the system where they take my money and your money that we pay in taxes, and they put it into a fund so that if anybody there's ways that you can pay them off to shut up, all right? We all learned about this with the E. Jean Carroll case with Donald Trump. In detail, we learned all this. And we saw how Trump was found innocent of anything anything bad about him attacking E. Jean Carroll. I mean, the criminal trial, he was found innocent in that. But then in a civil trial, she was somehow allowed to come in there and get a jury to agree to pay her $83 million. So we all know that system, and this Congressional Hush Money Fund is how they operate with that. We want those names released. And a lot of Republicans voted to not release the names on the Congressional Hush Money files. So that's one of the things. There is absolutely no reason why you and I, as American citizens and taxpayers, cannot know the names that are on that list right now. That's millions and millions. There's $50 million out of that fund that's been paid out. That's a lot of money paid out. So that's all the accusations that have come in that they paid for people to shut up. Are every one of those cases legitimate and valid? I don't know. But that's how they deal with it in this bullshit system of justice that we have right now. So as long as these people that we have proven have frauded the government, have frauded the American citizens out of their tax monies, as long as they're allowed to remain in Congress, Congress is a freaking joke, all right? There's no way that we can take Congress seriously when they decide to not release the names of the crooked ones that are within Congress, okay? And they won't narc on themselves, okay? They have investigated themselves and found themselves to be innocent, okay? Just like the cops do. You know, if a police officer is accused of, some impropriety, they investigate themselves, and usually the guy gets a raise or a leave of absence or whatever. Nothing ever happens with that. The same thing has happened with the Department of Justice. I just watched an episode of Lara Logan's podcast today, where she had two experts that are fighting against the election frauds in our government right now. And it was excellent, man. I posted it in my posts if you guys want to find that podcast and watch it. It was very detailed. These two guys that she was interviewing are very much in the fight. These are the faceless warriors that I was talking about just a minute ago, who you never see. But these are the people investing time and money, making sacrifices in order to fight this fight, man. Oh, Priscilla, man, a Democrat in New Jersey got the seat. So these elections are obviously still rigged, obviously, man. And a lot has gone on that way in order to make it look like they're not losing, okay? But trust in God. God has got this. By God, we're going to have our home again, because he is behind this whole thing. This isn't me or you or all of us patriots doing this. This is God's hand in this, and he is delivering this country. I do believe. But we can't take Congress seriously, man, because, the DOJ. The same thing happened. They found corruption within the DOJ, and then they pulled shenanigans on who runs the DOJ during the transition, and changed the rules, and got it to the point where there's one person involved that is up to them to root out the corruption within the DOJ, and he didn't do his job. And that's how they get away with it. Oh, there was another representative named Tony Gonzalez. He has just resigned. And he is found, he was allegedly had an affair with a staffer who then later killed herself, okay? So this guy's got that on his head. So he self-deported from Congress. So they are dropping, patriots. None of this was happening during FJB administration. And I believe that we are having faith in God to get them out, man. In the Bible, man, God rooted out the Assyrians when they were going to attack his people Israel. And there was 185,000 Assyrians that were that were on the enemy combatants there, and God told them to go into battle with a torch, with a pitcher over the torch. And when the Israelites heard the sound of God moving through the tops of the trees, and it's interpreted as a wind in the trees, he said, break the pitchers and let your lights shine, okay? I think that's an analogy to what's happening now, man. Stand up for what you believe in. 10 years ago, everybody wasn't going around telling you they believe in Jesus, man. I mean, that has changed drastically over the last 10 years. And that is part of this battle. There's another Bible verse, Deuteronomy 2:25, that says something like, this was when God was leading them out into the wilderness after their escape from slavery in Egypt. And God told them that I will put the fear of you in your enemies' hearts before you even encounter them. And that translated into Israel wasn't even doing anything except meandering around the desert for 40 years. Yet the people all around them were murmuring, man. The people in the city of Jericho, before they tumbled the walls down with God's help, they were all in fear of the Israelites. Because God put it on their enemies' hearts to fear them. So God can do this. He's done it in the past. The Bible scholars wrote about it, and we miraculously have that message of faith and God's hand over us. Down to this day, thousands and thousands of years, we still have that story preserved miraculously for us right now to inspire us, to know that this is how God can operate. And this is kind of what I see happening right now. It's an amazing thing to watch. So Tony Gonzalez, there's two members of Congress have been ejected, have self-deported basically, and we didn't really have to do anything about that. There's another huge happening this week. But let me just make sure I'm done with that first topic there. The highlight, the cherry on top of the events of this last week was Judge Jeanine Pirro has vacated the charges against the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers. Charges negated, vacated, obliterated, dismissed. There are no charges anymore to be even discussed against the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers. Those charges were for seditious conspiracy, which were the basis of what they wanted to go after President Trump for when they had Trump on trial down in Georgia. So that means, and this explains a lot now. So ever since Trump pardoned all the J6ers, he specifically did not pardon the Oath Keepers. That was Stuart Rhodes and his gang. Did not get pardons. They got something else that it wasn't considered a pardon, and I can't remember the term for it right now. But it also meant that Stuart Rhodes, who was a military veteran collecting a pension, couldn't collect his military pension because there were rules on military pensions that he was not able to collect on those. And it all makes sense now, because now what it has come down to is those charges against the Proud Boys had to continue to be discussed in D.C. as to whether or not they were valid or not. And Judge Jeanine Pirro spearheaded the effort to have all charges against the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers vacated. So now their lives they're back to square one that they were on January 5th, 2021, and they can collect their pensions. All of them have sacrificed so much though, and they have met huge losses. And hopefully now the lawsuits for reparations can proceed from that. But it's basically calling out the entire narrative from J6 right there. There was no seditious conspiracy. The protest at the Capitol was not a seditious conspiracy. It was not an insurrection. So now we got that going for us. That was a huge victory. And I hope that God is putting the fear into the hearts of these Satanists that are in the government right now. I have to rest assured that he is. Otherwise, they wouldn't be rooting out Swalwell and all the other ones. Oh, there we go. I don't know if you guys got allergies or not. But man, it's bad. Okay, we got the war, the confrontation, the operation going on at the Strait of Hormuz right now. And the mainstream media has done everything they can do to try and discredit everything Trump wants to do in this operation over there. They've gone after him like he doesn't have a plan. He's too heavy-handed, and then he does something, then he goes, oh, or if he doesn't do something, they call him, oh, he's like chicken. He's tacoing out. He's not tough like he should be. And everything that Trump has been doing on that whole operation has been going like clockwork. And the final results are going to be more massive than we can even imagine. Ask yourself, why hasn't China stepped into this? If China's oil is coming through the Strait of Hormuz, why did they not oppose us when we went in there? Why are they not opposing us right now for shutting down the Strait of Hormuz? Why is Russia not involved in this? They have a lot of skin in the game there at the Strait of Hormuz. They're not doing anything about it, man. There is a reset happening, and I don't think this is talked about too much, but there is a world organization, a structure. The structure of the world is being reset right now by one man, and that is Donald J. Trump. He is the only guy that could possibly do this, mainly because I believe he's been studying this all his life and tracking what works and what doesn't work. And all in addition to other corruption getting exposed through this whole operation. America is a energy independent country. We don't need any oil coming from the Strait of Hormuz. We don't need any fertilizer coming through the Strait of Hormuz right now. Why did we go after that? Because we're fighting the world powers, man, that are attacking the last bastion of freedom in the world, America, right now. So one thing that was very much in our face exposed, like the price of oil peaked out at $120 a barrel under this whole operation. It's already come down. It's below $90 a barrel today. And the prices haven't come down yet, but the prices went up in 3 days here. As 3 days after Trump started that whole operation, The prices of gasoline skyrocketed here, okay? And right now, the prices of gas right here in Pennsylvania are about 30 to 40 cents higher per gallon than they ever were during the FJB administration. The price of oil peaked under the FJB administration at $130 a barrel, but the price never went this high under FJB. So how is that even explainable? That's explainable by understanding who our Congress works for. Our Congress doesn't work for you and I. They work for themselves by keeping themselves in power. They are a self-protecting racket that keeps everybody out of trouble with these hush money type operations and criminal cover-ups and stuff. But they also work for the corporations. The corporations are the ones that are funding most of these representatives. You and I, we can give $50 to a guy who's trying to run for office. But Walmart can give him $50,000, can give him $500,000, can give him $5 million, okay? So their desire to cater to these corporations is way higher than their desire to represent us in our government right now. So therefore, over the last 50 years, corporations have had the games rigged in their favor every time they vote on something. And that is how they can raise gas prices overnight. If some little interruption happens somewhere in the world that doesn't even really affect us. And then there is also the way that they price oil. You know, there's a world operation, and I don't know if that's OPEC or what. But if the price of oil goes up to $130 a barrel over there, then we can't sell our oil cheaper here. There's an agreement there. So I think these are the things that are changing. But the price of oil went up, or the price of gasoline went way up, and it is now more than it ever was under FJB here where I live, even though the price of oil came down several days ago. So it took 3 days to shoot the gas prices up through the ceiling here. And Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, made a comment on mainstream media, that he's warning the oil companies to lower the prices as quick as they raised them. All right, he wants to keep the oil companies honest, and we're going to have to hold him to that, because he won't just probably do that himself. But we got to make ourselves vocal. That is what needs to be done. Get these corporations in line. The corporations are making money hand over fist right now and basically ripping us all off. I don't know how we can fight against that, because there is no mom and pop gas companies. It takes a lot of infrastructure to refine and distribute and sell gasoline here in America, in addition to other petroleum products. But at least we know that Scott Bessent has made public comments that he's going to keep an eye on this and make sure the prices come down as fast as they went up. And if he doesn't, he's got a lot of power that he's proven that he will use with going into their checking accounts to analyze all this stuff. He has the power to go in there and do that. In fact, that's what he's doing right now to Iran. And countries that are helping Iran. He's going into their, where they keep their money. You know, they all make money off of this network of terrorism and oil, and they got to keep their money somewhere. Well, Scott Bessent, as the Treasury Secretary, has access to all that information. And right now, they are scrutinizing people's banking practices that are potentially helping out Iran. And this is all shorthanded. This is what he's doing shorthanded, because when Trump won the election, so many people self-deported out of their jobs at the federal government, man. We talked about that before with Pam Bondi. Right now, we're up to 350,000 less jobs in the federal government right now. That's a lot, man. That is a lot. But somehow or another, they're all getting by. They're all doing what they're accomplishing right now under that shortage of manpower. But everyone on Trump's cabinet is talking a mean game right now and getting results with the shorthanded resources that they have right now. So basically, Trump is ending a system of world extortion. There have been several times in the past, a couple of decades, where people have threatened to shut down the Strait of Hormuz. I mean, this isn't the first time I've heard about this. And from here on out, I believe that he is fixing it so that he won't be able to do that. Nobody will be able to shut down the Strait of Hormuz anymore. That's a good question, Lee Sorensen. Which is bigger, the Federal Reserve or J.P. Morgan Chase? Which came first? Why are we buying money? Exactly. Why aren't we making our own money, right? But I think this is part of that reset that's happening. I don't know all the details about everything. I'm just a dude who's trying to understand how our government operates, because now I got the time to jump in and do that, you know. I've been working all my life, raising families. I didn't have time to jump in and do all that. And I wasn't interested in it, you know. It's a very distasteful, disgusting thing to get into, because it hurts your brain just figuring out what these psychopaths are doing in our government and screwing us over and over again. So I do believe that Trump is ending the system of world extortion, and that is why China or Russia have not stepped in, because they want to end the system too, all right? And up until Trump got reelected, the United States was a big part of that system, and we're finding that out now, and we got to root out that part of our government for the future of this golden age that could be happening. It could be so cool, all right? It could be so cool, but it isn't, because of these evil people who have ascended to power. I think they kept a lot of good people out of power by making it such a disgusting, distasteful endeavor to pursue. I think a lot of innocent people got taken out. Matt Gaetz comes to mind. They have slandered and blackmailed people to step down, even though they were innocent, because they didn't have the millions of dollars to pursue the fight to clear their names on that. But we got the good people in office right now. Scott Bessent, he's going to keep an eye on them gas companies. Some of the things that, and all right, I'm starting to believe that there have been psyops pulled by our people right now, the MAGA people over there in Iran. One of the things that I'm wondering here, just out loud, is we sank 150 Iranian ships in that water, all right? Where is the oil slicks, okay? If you ever go to Pearl Harbor, you know that there's still oil leaking out of ships that they sank at World War II at Pearl Harbor, all right? So if we just sank 150-something boats, shouldn't there be a gigantic oil slick out there somewhere? But there isn't. So, what's really going on? There's no ecological disaster happening from all these rockets and planes getting shot down and ships getting sunk. There is no ecological disaster going on. That just makes me wonder. Another thing was these two pilots that got supposedly shot down over in Iran. And the one guy got rescued immediately. Then right at Easter, we had this miraculous rescue. And the guy's occupation was the guy that they rescued last, who was, missing for 3 days over Easter. His occupation with the military was a weapons system officer. So I think one of the reasons that the Iranian people weren't fighting back against the Muslims in their government was because they didn't have weapons. All right. So lo and behold, we got a weapons system expert officer over there. And I just got to imagine that that's kind of a little wink, wink. We have a guy over there. And it was in a pretty remote area of Iran. Some of the little information that came out of Iran was that the local people were blocking the IRGC from getting into that area. I saw some videos of like hundreds of cars parked along a road. There was only one or two roads into that area where that plane went down. And the Iranian people were trying to block their military tyrants from going in there and finding that pilot, apparently. But what it comes down to is, I don't know what to believe anymore, okay? And if we need to do psyops in order to make this thing work, I'm all for it, because that's the trickery that's been pulled on us for decades. If we need to do a psyop or two, I think that's just fine. And I think rest assured that God's hand is in these psyops. You know, God is putting the fear into the heart of the IRGC over there in Iran. And I hope it's working. I hope they are terrorized when they go to bed every night. Another thing that happened lately was TPUSA has been having some rallies, and the other day J.D. Vance was scheduled to speak with Erica Kirk at a TPUSA event. And for some reason, Erica Kirk's team decided that it was too dangerous for her to go to this event. J.D. Vance went to the event, though, and a bunch of lies came out about why Erica wasn't there and things like that. Basically, the mainstream media, you don't hate them enough. They will come up with anything, and in a day or two, it's disproved, and then you never hear about it again, and they never say they're sorry. All right, so the same thing just happened there. But at this TPUSA event, as all events that they have, was an open-ended question session, and somebody got up and asked J.D. Vance about Pizzagate. Okay, Pizzagate is this 15-year thing that's been going on with, I mean, I can't even explain it in a nutshell. Basically, they're all Satan-worshiping psychopaths that, you know, do really bad things to children and stuff. And J.D. Vance came out and answered that question in public, on camera, that he is going to start looking into the Pizzagate thing. And the thing that got him going on, like, what is this, was the Epstein files and the text messages that came out from the Epstein files release, okay? So if the Epstein files were not released, J.D. Vance wouldn't have read these texts and started wondering what's going on. Why is that happening like that? Hello, Belinda. Yeah, Lee Sorensen. Something's going to happen with our money here. I'm not sure what, because I don't understand these things. I do understand that we trade in a fiat currency that they can just print up and that we buy from the Federal Reserve, and it's a totally crooked system. But, wow, Bill Still, he's an excellent journalist. Definitely, he's probably got the scoop on it. I don't know if we're all going to go to crypto or if we're going to cement the dollar and take over the federal, and the Treasury will take over from the Federal Reserve. I don't know what's going to happen. That could be an option there, though, too. All right. Thank you, Belinda. Blessings for Jericho and you patriots. That's awesome, man. Definitely keep us all in prayer. We're all doing what we can do. We had that phone call rally going on at the vigils. That was awesome. We got a lot of results with that. There's phone calls to be made right now about the Dignity Act. Definitely call your representative, say you want no parts in that Dignity Act. And I just called my guy. I called my guy about the Dignity Act, and I called him about Judge Boasberg again this morning. I said, impeach Judge Boasberg. He's continually standing in the way of any type of progress that the people that we elected into office can possibly be making, man. Okay, Priscilla, I don't know what the Robbins case is. And Belinda Eckhart is saying, watch Roger Stone show with Don Brown. All right. Both of them are fine patriots. And the pool of accurate, trustworthy, right-wing MAGA patriots is narrowing down. We found out through the last couple of months of all these psyops and stuff that they all weren't really on our side, man. They were feeding us propaganda. They were feeding us propaganda, man. The following feature has been rated propaganda. And we just seen a lot of it go down. So we got to remember our lessons and move on. All right, that was all page one. Like I said, a lot went on here, man. Okay, J.D. Vance is currently in charge of the fraud. He is the fraud czar right now. And the other day he mentioned that him and Dr. Oz have closed like 230 hospices in the Los Angeles, California area. That number has now gone up to 447 hospices in LA that have been just totally stopped in their tracks because everything was so crooked about their paperwork, their banking. They just stopped payment to them. I don't even think they needed an investigation. All they had to do was look up the paperwork that they filed for that and found out that 447 of them were illegitimate, were a scam, a ripoff. Oh yeah, the judge in the Charlie case. Okay. They're pulling every crooked maneuver they can. Yeah, I know Don Brown. He's a good guy. He's the guy that's all scarred up, right? That dude has paid his price for this country already. You know that guy's true, right? And he's running for Tom Tillis, a notorious rhino. 7 million stolen. And that's who we're fighting, man. Trump delivered the presidency to the GOP, and they will not back him up. They will not ask him how to do anything because they're so pompous and so overinflated in their own minds that they don't understand that that MAGA is the future of the Republican Party. So it's going to take a couple of election cycles to get rid of them all, for sure. $7 million stolen. They did that with Kari Lake too, Belinda. The GOP defunded like her race, and instead they put a whole bunch of money in this other doomsday race that they knew the GOP guy was going to lose. They just threw that money out the window by supporting that guy, took the money away from Kari Lake, so she lost her election, and the cheating involved. But Kari Lake couldn't make it too big to rig in her area there. That was the problem. So with J.D. Vance suspending 447 hospices, that still leaves like 700 hospices in L.A., okay? There was over 1,000 hospices in L.A. It's crazy, and it's still going on. So getting rid of 447 of them, that's a nice dent, but it is nowhere near the eventual work that's going to need to be done there. Yeah, what a grand old party, Carrie, right? Should be calling it the Grand New Party, the GNP, once MAGA takes control. What else here, man? The U.S. Department of Transportation has just called out New York for giving commercial driver's licenses to foreign truckers. Some of these guys got CDLs that didn't even have a name on them. It just says no name given. Yet New York would still issue this guy a commercial driver's license, which is absurd. So, Duffy, I think, is the guy in charge of the U.S. DOT, and he is yanking $73 million out of the money that New York gets every year. That's the whole state. That's not just New York City. And that brings us to the New York City thing. Here we got a socialist that supposedly won the election there. And they get a lot of federal money, man. So how much should we continue to give to New York City here? I mean, if we have any options whatsoever, why does my money, here I am, a freedom-loving patriot in Pennsylvania, paying taxes, why do I want any of my money going to a socialist government in New York? And that needs to be addressed, man. It's abhorrent for my money to be going towards something like that. It's abhorrent for my money to be going to get transgender kids their surgery or abortions or things like that. They take our money that normally would be given to charities and do just heinous things with them, things that we find detestable. And that has caused a lot of people to lose interest in their government, to just back out of the fight and throw their arms up in the air and say, whatever, I just want to watch football and drink beer. I just want to have a job, you know. But if we don't start paying attention, you're not going to be able to watch football. You're not going to be able to have a job. You're not, you know, so that's the reason we need to get re-engaged with our government here. But finally, we're getting results. I mean, the results are everywhere. They're happening everywhere. And I wrote all these down because there's a lot of them going on right now. And this is only half of the victories that we have had. We haven't had all victories, though. There have been some losses, man. One loss that happened was Trump had a lawyer named John Eastman. This guy, just because he represented Donald Trump, the Bar Association has disbarred him, okay? So we talked about the Bar Association a couple of times in the past, how it's like a self-regulating organization that makes sure that lawyers and judges behave ethically, okay? And we've wondered for years why the Bar Association didn't step in and remove Judge Boasberg when he was screwing over J6ers on a daily basis in D.C. for 4 years. And there was no action on any of these judges by the Bar Associations. And then all of a sudden, the Bar Association comes out and disbars John Eastman, which was Trump's lawyer. So they totally knee-jerk reaction into the wrong direction right there. So this is the web of control that the elites have had on this country, man. They not only control the courts and the judges and the lawyers, they also control the Bar Association, right? So this is part of the reset, man. How do we come to trust our government again? We've all lost trust in our government. We've all lost trust in the courts. We've all lost trust in the law enforcement agencies. You know, all hundreds of different law enforcement agencies we've lost trust in. That trust needs to be earned back. So I don't know the entire story with John Eastman getting disbarred, but next time I see my lawyer friend, I'm going to ask him. Get ready, dude. We're going to have a long conversation on that one. And a long conversation on how these judges are constantly releasing criminals out into the public again after they've been arrested, and then they go out and commit crimes, heinous crimes, violent, heinous crimes on American citizens, right? Whether or not they're illegals. A long time ago, I had this discussion about these restraining orders that like really angry ex-wives file on people, that they get a restraining order at the drop of a hat. You know, all it takes is a woman to come in and say, I'm scared, you know, even though the person she's filing this restraining order against has never done anything violent to her, has never yelled at her, has you know, there's just, it doesn't take any evidence. All it takes is an accusation by somebody who says they feel threatened, and a judge just rubber stamped a restraining order on people, okay? And that was explained to me by my attorney friend, that no judge wants to have their name on some type of domestic violence issue that happens after a restraining order request was denied, okay? So they almost rubber stamp these things because of the fear of reprisal in case somebody really did get hurt, okay? And I would say it worked, okay? It wasn't always fair, but the system worked. There is not a rampant domestic violence problem in the country where restraining orders were denied people. And it usually, if a restraining order is issued, it usually diffuses any type of situation like that. But what we've seen over and over and over again with these illegals is that these judges are constantly letting them out. They're being pressured to let them out because it's unethical, because these people are, for some reason, to be pitied. They're pathetic people, and we can't overdo it fighting, you know, arresting them for crimes, right? So it's a big puzzle to me why the judges would just rubber stamp all these domestic restraining orders on American citizens, yet when it came to these illegals, they would just, you know, you get busted for robbery or theft or fraud or drunk driving, and they would just continually let these people out. And in a lot of instances, American citizens have wound up dead. People have wound up dead. Irina Zarutska was an immigrant herself, and she got stabbed by somebody who walked through the court system 17 times. 17 times. A judge did not issue justice, demand justice on this criminal until finally he snapped and killed that white woman, you know. The writing was on the wall with this guy. The cops, 17 times, the law enforcement had to come in and arrest this guy. 17 times, the judge let him go. And I just don't get how the same explanation for domestic violence cases doesn't apply here to actual criminal cases. It's just, and that's another one of them things where you go, that totally doesn't make sense, and I can't understand it, so I'm just going to stop paying attention. You see how they get you to, they shake up your paradigm, they bust your paradigm so you don't even care anymore. But that's where God's given us the power, man, to stand up against this stuff, to be able to take the hits and to be able to fight back. Another crazy thing in Virginia, which has its fair share of crazy lately. The ex-lieutenant governor, Justin Fairfax, just ended his own life after he murdered his wife, okay? It was a murder-suicide. That's what we're being told right now, okay? Apparently the son went to visit them in the morning, and there was, their bodies were in the house, and it's been ruled a murder-suicide at this point. So this is the ex-lieutenant governor of Virginia, Justin Fairfax, who spent his entire career trying to remove our Second Amendment rights from us, who thus ends his life with a gun, okay? This was a gun murder-suicide. So this guy spent his entire career trying to tell you and me that we can't own a gun, that there would have to be all these rules about owning a gun, and then he takes a gun and ends his life and his wife's life with it. This is disgusting, disgusting. So there we go. One less of them in the world, okay? Good riddance. Virginia's got their own problems now with this Governor Spanberger. She is just raising taxes left and right. They're taking rights away from people all over the place. I don't know how this woman got into power. It's atrocious. It really is. I don't know what's all going to pan out. I don't have a crystal ball. All I know is the good patriots in Virginia are going to fight against that. That's for sure. Another hilarious flap that's been going on right now is this picture that President Trump posted of himself as a doctor healing somebody, okay? It was a painting somebody else made where he's laying his hands on this dude in a hospital bed, apparently healing him. And all of a sudden, every libtard, every Satanist, disbelieving Democrat came out and said, Trump thinks he's Jesus. Well, the memes that have come out of this are absolutely hilarious. I spent, 20 minutes just laughing my face off this morning on all the different memes that have come out ridiculing the Democrats for their response to that one picture. That's all it took, was a picture, all right? This is the power of memes, man. That you can come up with one picture and it lit the Democrats up like their hair was on fire, like they're just pooping their diapers. They're just losing their minds, man, over this one thing, because Jesus, he told. And just like that, Trump got all the Democrats talking about Jesus, all right? Whether or not they're right, the fact that the Jesus is on the tip of their tongues, they cannot ignore that anymore. They cannot ignore their eternal damnation if they don't turn to Jesus, man. They will be found wanting when the judgment comes, because it'll be fair warning, man. You knew who Jesus was. You knew what he did. You accused other people of being Jesus, but you never accepted him as your Savior. You thought you could save yourself, demon, and you can't. You're damned to hell for eternity. And I think that's amazing, man, that Trump can do that somehow or another, how this keeps happening. It's not the first time this has happened either. So Trump is not Jesus. He doesn't think he's Jesus. The picture wasn't even of him as Jesus. It was of him as a doctor. And just God, this is how I know God's hand is in this, okay? Who else could have done that? How else could that have come about, all right? All the Democrats, all the trolls in our chats were saying, oh, Trump is Jesus now. It's like, it's hilarious. They just continue to embarrass themselves. It's pretty wild, man. And then the Pope comes out and is rebuking Trump for whatever reason. I don't know what. He bombed Iran, okay? And what the Pope is missing is the fact that Iran was a Muslim country. Iran was a dictatorship. Iran just spent the last 2 months executing 42,000 of their own people. And the Pope doesn't find it necessary to mention that. But he finds it necessary to say, to put Trump down somehow. So this guy is disconnected. And just to prove how disconnected this Pope is, Pope Leo the 14th, is that his name? Yeah, Pope Leo the 14th. He signed the Golden Book of the Muslims. I don't even know what that is, but he did it, okay? He went over to the Holy Temple of the Muslims or somewhere, and he signed their Golden Book. And then he ripped on all Christians for backing Trump, all right? So first of all, Catholics are not Christians, all right? Catholics are Catholics. That's why they have their own separate name. They're Catholic. The Pope has nothing to do with Christianity, period. Anybody who thinks has got that mixed up in your head, get over it, because the Pope is the head of the Catholic Church, which is not the Christian church, it's the Catholic Church. And now your Pope has just gone over and signed an agreement, signed his name. Pope Leo the 14th is in agreement with Islam right now because he signed their Golden Book. Put that in your pipe and smoke it, Catholics, all right? How much money has the Catholics gotten from NGO operations, bringing these illegals into this country, man. How many billions of dollars do you think has been given to the Catholic Church over that? How many years did we have to listen to stupid stories about priests molesting boys in the Catholic Church? I mean, if you're still Catholic, I don't know what to tell you anymore. All you got to do is read the book, all right? And you'll understand that Jesus was Jesus. There is no human representative of Christ on this earth right now other than all of us. There is no vicar of Christ on the planet right now. Nobody has the authority of Jesus on this planet right now to take away sins, to give exonerations for sins, to do all the things that the Pope claims he can be doing right now. So, sorry about that little rant, man. I got friends that are Catholics, but I'm sick of this Catholic thing, man. They're not Christians. Now they're in partnership with the Muslims, and they're attacking Christianity. Not a word out of Pope Leo XIV's mouth about the 100,000 people that were just annihilated, the 100,000 Christians that were annihilated in Nigeria over the last 10 years. It's just insane. It's insane. And that ridgeline, that many devout Catholic friends of mine are disgusted by the woke Pope. And that's what my Catholic friends are saying. They like Pope John Paul the First. But when John Paul II came around, they were like, oh, he's not really a Pope. But they remained in the Catholic Church. And they're good people, too, all right? I'm not saying the Catholics are bad, but they're being led around by the nose, okay? They might as well have a freaking nose ring in their nose, all right? They're being led around by, like cattle, by a false religion. Yeah, the Pope is absolutely not biblical. Belief in Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ takes your sins away, okay? He paid the sacrifice, and he left it up to the church afterwards. Then in 300 AD, Constantine got all the bishops together from the church, wined and dined them for months and months and months. And they sat there and let Constantine wine and dine them. But then Constantine laid the gamut down and he said, you vote. The Catholic Church is now the official church of the Roman Empire. And they changed everything. They turned it into a sun worship religion, man. Well, Catholic charities are going to lose their money for NGOs the way things are going right now. And they deserve to. They facilitated the invasion and thought they were doing good things, okay? They facilitated the abduction and trafficking of 400,000 children. The Catholics were heavily involved with that child thing, man. I saw videos of Catholic guys with a minivan loading up 8, 9, 10 children in a minivan, and they vanish. They just drive them off somewhere, and we never heard from them again, man. And they were getting tons and tons of money to do that, man. And hopefully that money is being cut off, man. Trump made a cryptic statement about the Red Cross the other day when the granny, the Uber Eats granny was there. And I think so much of this is coming to light right now. We've been primed up to this point with all the corruption we've had to witness over the last 20 years, and it is coming to a head now, and it is going to be a deluge coming down on everybody in this country, including us. But I think we got to not get overwhelmed. We got to rejoice that finally this stuff is out in the open, and that finally something is going to be done about it. I think Doge is going to come back somehow or another here, Ridgeline. Or every bureaucracy in the government's going to have their own Doge department, hopefully. That is ongoing. And Doge technically isn't Doge anymore, but there has been a lot of things getting Doged, like the hospices in LA. I mean, that's happening. And the driver's licenses in New York City, or CDLs in New York state. There is a lot of stuff that's just getting cut off in its tracks right there. So this whole thing with the Pope, man, I don't know. I'm done with that. Now, another victory. Minnesota state government. The legislature has finally filed impeachment for Tampon Timmy. They're claiming there has been $9 billion of fraud in Minnesota. And finally, their legislature has they have filed impeachment papers on Tampon Tim. So, man, how long did that take? Okay, how many months was that? 6 months ago to Nick Shirley, a YouTuber guy, exposed this, and finally the government's coming around and finally lifted a finger and filed impeachment papers on the guy. Oh yeah, right on there, Carrie. That's a great statement, man. Where's two or more gathered in my name, there I am also. That's right, we are a congregation of peoples. That's a great statement, Carrie. Thank you for that. So finally, let's see if it passes in the Minnesota state government. So this is another thing of confusion. This is the state government that is issuing the impeachment files for Governor Tampon Tim. Another story that's come out. They've spent, I don't know, how many minutes of your life have you spent listening to the people tell you that Hunter Biden has fled the country and he is now in South Africa, okay? How many minutes, how many hours of our life have we spent listening to facts and details of Hunter Biden's life, man? All this disgusting human being that this information is crammed down our throats if you watch mainstream media or even right-wing media. They love picking that stuff up and ripping on Hunter Biden, man. Well, during the last week, we've been told, he ran away to South Africa. Boom, he owes $20 million in fines or had taxes. We're not going to be able to get him now. Another way to demoralize the MAGA people, right? Well, turns out Hunter Biden is in a resort, is in a luxury estate in California right now, okay? He never left the country. This was a fake story. This was, 3 minutes of airtime every night that we all had to sit through if you watch the news. And it's just bunk information. It never was true. They made it up. They presented it, wasted our time with it, caused aggravation with it. And it's wrong. It's false. It's not happening. He's actually in California hanging out at a luxury resort, a luxury estate, one of his rich friends owns. So hopefully, California's probably somewhat of a sanctuary state for him. I doubt they'll probably not allow the federal agents to come in there and get him. I hope they just, they go in and get him, man. Dude's guilty. He owes $20 million in IRS taxes, man. That's a fact. He's already found guilty of that. In addition to drug use, prostitution use, and a slew of other things. That's the only reason FJB got elected, was to give Hunter a job over there in Ukraine. It was the basis of the whole impeachment hoax, with the first impeachment hoax with President Trump. The famous phone call was over the Burisma gas company over in Ukraine that Hunter Biden was seated on the board of advisors with, you know. I mean, how can you just get so disgusted you don't even want to hear any more of it? And that shouldn't be allowed, Patriots. Involvement in our civics in this country should be rewarded, not penalized. Anybody who's demoralizing people that want to get involved in the civics of this country, that should be wrong, man. I don't know how we can punish it, but that's not right, man. We all need to be involved in our country. We all want to make America great again, don't we? I mean, who wouldn't want to make America great again that lives here? It's just so common sense. All right, I got one more topic, and it's leaving me scratching my head a little bit. Not long ago, Kristi Noem was removed as the head of DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, and a guy named Markwayne Mullin was installed as the new lead. I do believe he was actually sworn in, so it's fully legitimate now and everything. And just yesterday or the day before, he came out with some statements where he wants to tone down the deportation stories that are out in the media, right? He wants to tone it down so that the ICE agents aren't on the front headlines of every newspaper every day, okay? And I gotta just say, hold up a second. That is not what I want. I want the deportations to be front and center of the next 4 years, because that is what we voted for. And I was a little confused on Markwayne Mullin's comments about toning down the deportations, man. I think the deportations needed to be ramped up, because not enough just regular illegal aliens were getting picked up. The ICE agents have been focusing on ICE or illegals that have only committed crimes here in America. They were committed to only getting the ones that have been put into a U.S. jail for committing a crime here, man. So I was a little confused by Markwayne Mullin's statement. I'm not pulling all support out of Markwayne Mullin, but that was kind of a little warning flag there. That is not the direction I think most of the 77 million people that voted for Trump want to go in. We want all the illegals removed from this country, all right? If you are not here legally, why even make laws about it, okay? If you're allowed to stay. Why do we even have a law? If we don't enforce that law, you should take that law off the books and let anyone who wants to come in here. But no, we have a law about entering this country the legal way. We don't want degenerates coming to this country. We want the people that are coming to this country to be bringing something of value with them to this country. And we voted for Trump to deport all the illegals. And Markwayne Mullin's statements the other day were not that. It was a dilution of that. So I hope he corrects himself or further clarifies his statements from the other day. I don't think the ICE agents need to be on the front page of the paper every day, but I want to see the numbers go up, because so far we have only deported about 2.5 million illegal aliens right now. And a lot of them self-deported with the ability to reapply for asylum. So a lot of those are going to be coming back in a legal manner because we give them that option. But I don't know how much more benevolent we can be to people who came here illegally than to say, here's $2,000 and a plane ride home and a chance to come back the right way. That's benevolent, okay? I don't know any other country in the world that would do that. And I don't know any other country in the world that would open up their borders to illegal immigrants, you know? It's not a recipe for success, man. All right, I'm reading some of these comments. Okay, got 72 out. All right, the ICE agents in West Virginia, Priscilla is reporting they are getting them out of there. They just got 72 of them out of West Virginia. All right, Ridgeline's saying, look out, Maryland. They want to make Maryland a sanctuary state. Isn't the governor of Maryland trying to run for president in a couple years too? And I think they've removed endorsement from him. So I think some more things are going to happen with the Democrats in Maryland. They do not have complete control in Maryland. but they're trying to tell us they do. Okay, I want to read this statement by Belinda. Odd thing, Mullen came here to West North Carolina to help with the floods. Not true. It's a land grab for mining. Okay, we gotta keep our eye on that stuff. We do need mining in this country, and a lot of times these stories can get blown out of proportion to keep us from progressing. Right now, there is a huge effort for everybody to turn against these data processing centers that need to be built here in America, all right? If we are going to enter the computer age with any type of power, we need these data processing centers in a lot of spots here in America. And a lot of the $18 trillion worth of investment into this country is involving these data centers that foreign governments are taking their money and investing it here in America in order to build these things. There's major psyops going on to get everybody to hate these data centers, okay? Trump said these data centers are going to be able to build their own power plants. And after he said that, all the people that hate the data centers were starting to say, like, oh, they're going to steal all the water. You know, they're going to tap into our water systems, and our water systems can't handle it, you know. I think there's a lot of bad information going on about that, trying to get Americans to reject progress, okay? The North Carolina mining thing, from what I've looked into, I heard about it when it was happening like a year ago, and I looked into it. That is an area that has a specific element that we need. I forget what element it was. We do need that. And there's only a couple of families that live near that area. So, and they were holding out, okay? And there's definitely always somebody's going to get money to move out of their house. They may have lived there for generations, but in order to build a mine there, they can't live there anymore. So I don't like people standing in the way of progress. There is a thing called eminent domain, and in certain cases, some people are going to have to sacrifice in order for progress to happen here in America. Similar to how, I just lost that thought. But so I don't know, man. And all I saw in that North Carolina mining thing was like one family that was living in a trailer park were bitching because they were going to get bought out. It's a benevolent system, okay? They own land there. They might have lived there a long time, but the government's going to pay them. They're not going to just kick them out and not compensate them for what they have there. And they are going to be given an opportunity to move somewhere else. And I think that we just got to watch it. We just got to watch it with that, Belinda. Courts, and there are over 200 still there. All right, I'll look into that story a little more, Belinda, but we got to watch it, man. These stories have been used against us a lot. And right now, we got 2 big data centers that they want to build in this area. And if you are, I believe that we're going to need these data centers. This is the era of the computer, right? So in order to be powerful in a world that computers are strength, we need these data centers. But there is a lot of people complaining about a lot of what if, okay? What if they're noisy? What if they use up our water? And every time these data centers are having representatives come to the council meetings about it, and they're saying, we're not using up a lot of water. The amount of water that you just accused us of needing, we're not going to need that. We have internal cooling systems. It doesn't use city water to do that. We're going to build our own power plants. These power plants are only going to be able to be run when it won't make more noise than a highway right next to it. And both of these data centers are right next to highways. So all the people complaining about these things already have a bunch of highway noise there that, you know, they're living with. It's not like they're living up a mountain valley with zero ambient noise, you know. you're in an urban area, there's noise. The highways are loud, man. So there are like decibel, I mean, they're doing everything we can to regulate these data centers, but there is a huge force to get people to hate these data centers because they are the future of progress right here, you know. That's like somebody, you know, back in 1920 saying Henry Ford's new invention is going to ruin the world, you know. Maybe it did, but it wasn't going to get avoided. If Henry Ford didn't do it, Mercedes-Benz was going to do it, right? So you either get in on the game or get left behind is basically how a lot of these things happen. All right, but thanks for staying plugged in, Belinda. Thank you. What's up, General? Bring your own fishing rod. Well, I'm kind of a nitwit, you know, and I don't get legal mumbo jumbo. So I'm not really know what regulations. I need an attorney to help me figure out what I'm allowed to fish for here. So I don't fish for that reason. Not that I'm so scared of going to jail for catching a fish, but just in total disgust on all the laws and regulations they put on us. I always felt like I need an attorney to get a hunting license or something because I don't understand it. I just filled out my tax forms. I don't understand a word on them tax forms, but I fill one out and send it in every year, and so far, I'm still a free man. But every single one of them questions on the tax form, I have no idea what they're talking about. Do you have a this kind of account? Well, I don't know. I don't know. I got a couple of accounts, but I don't know what it's called. Oh, you guys are doing a good job of keeping the trolls out here. I haven't even seen one. You're so quick on it. Thank you. Bye-bye. Keep trying. Get that 60-year-old guy with the YouTube channel. We'll get him. We're going to take him down. Oh, man. Here's their leader. Here's the leader of the trolls. She just came out of retirement the other day. That's the trolls right there, Patriots. This one kind of retired. She decided to become a tour guide in Pennsylvania, but nobody was watching her channel then, I guess. And then she just decided to come out and harass Jake Lang the other day. Very ineffectually, I might add. But these are who you guys are blocking. Thank you very much, Patriots. What a bunch of losers. Get him. Get him. Get that old guy with the channel. He's dangerous. He's going to get us all. All right. So we got major panic in D.C. going on right now. No matter what they're trying to tell us right now, we got major panic going on in D.C. And I do believe that we've heard this saying, about a storm coming. What storm, sir? You'll find out. Well, the storm isn't going to be on us. It's going to be on them. The storm is happening on them. They will be decimated. The information is coming out. Tulsi Gabbard, for like the third time now since she took office, has come out with this information on how Barack Obama, James Comey, Clapper, and the other idiot falsified intelligence reports that the incumbent, that President Trump was going to be getting in his first days of office were frauds, were concocted. They were fake intelligence reports that were knowingly faked and done. And they did it. They faked the reports, fed them to Trump, So Trump was not fully aware of the truth of what his own intelligence agencies were finding out, and they got away with it for now. But now Tulsi Gabbard, and then Tulsi Gabbard came out and said this right when she got elected into office. Tulsi Gabbard herself was the victim of those fake intelligence reports. She was on the no-fly list. They used it against her. And just last week, all the trolls were trying to tell us that Trump's going to fire Tulsi Gabbard's next after he repositioned Bondi. Kristi Noem stepped down to another position. So nobody's been fired. They've all been moved around right now. Pam Bondi ain't looking for a job right now. She has another position. Kristi Noem isn't fired. She's not collecting unemployment. She has another position right now. So these people are just getting moved around, which I think is a good tactic in war. And they've been trying to tell us that Tulsi's going to get fired next. And these are right-wing people trying to tell us that, man. Hey, Jay Jones, good to see you, brother. What else we got? Oh, Trump wants to build this freaking archway, man. Look at this thing. This will go, I believe, on the road that goes between the Lincoln Memorial and Arlington Cemetery. I think is the spot where he's talking about building this triumphal arch. And I think it's a good idea. I think we need a triumphal arch in Washington, D.C. I'm not sure that there's any demonic meanings to a triumphal arch. I think they could tear down the Washington Monument, maybe put the triumphal arch there. That would be a good idea. The Washington Monument is definitely a satanic monument that needs to go. Oh, right on. General announcing Flag Wave Sunday. Flag Wave Sunday out in Pittsburgh land, out in eastern PA there. We'll have to see what happens. Sunday. General, I just got my turnpike bill for driving out there twice. And it was a lot of money, man. So I don't know. That put a dent in my monthly budget here. But definitely in the future, I'll be out there again. And I'll definitely take more time so I don't got to drive on the golden turnpike, man. Boy, they really value that turnpike here in Pennsylvania. So yeah, and I don't have one of those dashboard toll counter things in my car. So what they do is they take a picture of my license plate and then they send me a bill. And the bill is exactly 100% more than it would have been if I had the little device on my windshield to automatically pay my toll. So I thought that was a pretty big ripoff there. And next time I come out, I'll take the scenic route and stay off of the turnpike, I think. But yeah, Ridgeline, that was a lot of money to come out there and come back, man. That was $140 in tolls alone to go to meet with Stacey Garrity that day and then to go back out for the flag wave. Uh-oh. Texas, J. Jones, you got them tornadoes all the time. Or no, those tornadoes are ripping up Iowa and Illinois today. Wow. Man, these tornadoes are happening. There was some big hailstorm too, not long ago. All right, I got a couple of things here I'd like to read and go over, see what it triggers in my mind and your minds. Representative Anna Paulina Luna, who I think is showing herself to be an all-star, is posting a friendly reminder that House Oversight subpoenaed the records of the Congressional Sexual Harassment Slush Fund, and we will be releasing them. Maybe we'll see more resignations. You never know. Hashtag Trash Day. I think that would be a splendid idea, Representative Luna. Here she is showing her true colors. I can't imagine that her name is on that list. Otherwise, she would not be saying this. And after they spent $50 million, I'd imagine there's a lot of people on that list. Will they have enough people to vote to release that list? We'll have to see. But that's exactly what's wrong with this government. And Representative Luna is one of the handful of representatives that is actually representing we the people and getting us the transparency and information that we need in order to vote intelligently. Without this information, we will not be able to vote intelligently, man. Here's just a couple of the silver linings. In case we forgot, things happen so fast. The next Congress won't have Jasmine Crockett as a representative. She took herself out. Al Green, the caveman, he won't be running again. He's out. Dan Crenshaw, remember? He got taken out too. The eye patch guy, that crooked screwball. Eric Swalwell. And hopefully we won't have this Gonzalez guy. And hopefully we'll get rid of Ilhan Omar, LaMonica McIver, Sheila Sharifullo, and the other one, Tony Gonzalez. So hopefully things are happening, Patriots. Don't let them tell you it's not. Hey, Jerry. All right, for all you people that came in late, man, I played a song at the beginning of this video that I just think is the bomb. It's an AI-generated tune, but there's some really good AI-generated tunes that are coming out right now. And the one I played at the beginning of the video is freaking awesome. So if you didn't get to see that, go back and watch that if you want to see something awesome. Let's see, we got a couple of other things here. James O'Keefe, who is doing awesome work exposing the corrupt people. And I thought this little statement of his was very logical. I don't know why people find this so complicated. There is money in fraud. There is no money in stopping fraud. Read that again. And we're finding that out with Nick Shirley. Nick Shirley's uncovered billions of dollars in fraud. And what does he get for it? He has to get security now. He has his expenses have probably went up 100 times what he has been spending in the past. He has been attacked. They're actually writing a law called the Stop Nick Shirley Act in California right now. He painted a gigantic target on his rear end, and they're taking pot shots at him. So that's what you get for exposing fraud. That has happened over and over again. Every time I've seen a whistleblower come forward in the past 20 years, that person's life has been ruined. I've seen FBI whistleblowers come forward. Next thing you know, they got no job. They can't get a job. They've been blacklisted. They are attacked legally, legal warfare on them. They're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on lawyers, all for exposing fraud. Edward Snowden had to move to Russia 10 years ago. Julian Assange was in captivity for 10 years for telling us all about the corruption that's in our government. Those days have to end. They have to end. And James O'Keefe is laying it all on the line, man. I mean, he is putting in the boot work it takes. All right, here we go. I don't know who this person is, but they're posting, Swalwell and Gonzalez aren't the only ones. Don't forget that Congress voted 357 to 65 to permanently lock away their $17 million sexual harassment fund in a sealed vault. I'm not sure about that 17 million. I'm hearing 53 million from other things. This is another thing in the fray. You get all these varying numbers of things, but all we know is they spent a lot of our money paying people to shut up, right? Yeah, Jay Jones. I love how O'Keefe gets pretty girls to get swamp rats to spill the beans. Well, and he's even done it as a gay guy too, which I think is even funnier. But yeah. O'Keefe is making sacrifices in order for that. In order for him to do what he's doing, it's costing him. They came after his company. James O'Keefe lost control of his own company. They took it over from him, and then he had to start over, all over again. That's because there is a war going on for the capture of your minds. And that war has been going on since the creation of mankind. And we know that because we read the Bible. This is awesome, man. And just like that, all the liberals are Bible scholars now. How about that? They're all trying to publicly shame us in our Christianity. They find out one little piece of information, and then they try to accuse us with that information and tell us we're not good Christians, while they're accusing us and judging us, man. It's pretty wild. All right, what's this for the Pope I had? Thank you, Holy Father, for telling us we can live in peace with the Muslims by signing your name to the Golden Book. Now go tell all the Muslims that. Somebody didn't get them the message, you know? Somehow or another, that one got swept under the rug. And right now, it is time to unite and fight for our freedom together. We are strong. Apart, we are weak. Patriots have no skin color. That's a quote from Q. I don't know where you guys all stand with Q, but my goodness, there is a lot coming out that Q stated was going to happen 7, 8 years ago. It's awful ironic. Hey, Jerry, how's it going? Yes, we do red, white, and blue. That's right. Here's just a funny meme. And then I told them I thought I was a doctor. These memes say 1,000 words. All right, what else do we got here? This is kind of where I'm at right now. This is me watching Trump cook while all the panicans and the Democrats are losing their shit, man. Pretty wild. Pretty wild. I think that's the hand of God on us, keeping us calm. We can panic all we want. We can try to think we got to keep up on all this. We can lose our minds trying to keep up on all this. But I think we got our guy. Our team is out on the field right now. And I'm not going to start backseat driving for them. We elected them people. They're doing the job that we elected them to do. And we can't go in there and start micromanaging stuff, man. We can make a phone call or two when we see something we don't like. But overall, our team is on the field. And they are They are winning. They are defeating the other team. Yeah, you guys, check out the chat here. There's a link for the MAGA Warriors. If you want to get in on their flag wave out in eastern Pennsylvania this Sunday, watch that video. It'll give you the coordinates, the locations, everything you need in order to attend. And then show up and get ready to get verbally abused. Whether you're at the flag wave or in a car going by the flag wave. All right, there are 42 states that hold bartenders accountable if the customers they overserve kill someone. But 0 states hold judges accountable if the criminals they release kill somebody. That's an astounding statement. Me and you, we're like bartenders, right? We just hold jobs. We just got a job. We're just serving beers, right? But if this guy goes out and drinks some more after he leaves the bar, they're gonna try to criminally prosecute you for serving him too much. But we got 0 accountability on these judges who just keep running these criminals through their courts. That's what I call a 2-tiered system of justice, man. What is best in life? To meme your enemies, to see them driven to their safe spaces, and to hear their lamentations of their non-binary otherkin. There's a whole world of this stuff out there, patriots. And there's a lot of information in there that you can glean. The American dream today is to live as far away as possible from liberals. That is my American dream right now, yes. Got a couple of crazy neighbors in my neighborhood. Yeah, and I'm surprised. This is a fake meme, but whoa. This is a spoof. Breaking, a Hawaiian judge orders Trump must return the rescued pilot back to Iran. It would not surprise me that they would try that, you know. That's a meme that kind of shows you the trend lately with these activist judges trying to reverse the progress that our team has gotten, trying to take home runs off the board that our team has earned. Here's them. All right, no kings. It wasn't that long ago. But these people are retards, man. These are the people berating us on our Christianity. These are the people telling us that we are not Christians because we do this or we do that. How insulting. Okay, we just had that whole moon landing thing, right? Or we didn't land on the moon. We had the whole $146 billion Artemis 1 takeoff. And they flew around the backside of the moon. And I was saying we didn't get any pictures, but I guess we did get a picture. This is a picture of the backside of the moon. Yeah, right, Priscilla. Tina Peters is still sitting in jail. Tina Peters is having another day in prison, even though they just found that her whole sentencing was found illegal. Oh, wow, Jay. Here we go. Sapphire Patriot. There's her YouTube channel link. Wait, what did I just do? She may go live tonight. She is in Florida for Lego Man and Olivia Pollack's wedding. Whoa! I didn't know that. Why didn't I know that? I saw Sherry did a video, but she was just driving somewhere. I didn't watch it. That's awesome, man. Lego Man and Olivia Pollack are getting married. That's going to be a cool Patriot get together there with Mr. and Mrs. Pollack there, her brothers. That's a J6er wedding all the way. Carrie, I don't know if we got any pictures of really anything, man. And I'll tell you, the Artemis trip was a lot more believable. But after the, what was the other one called? The Bezos rocket ship of Blue Origin. I will never believe another space launch after that. I just cannot believe that that was a legitimate space launch with Katy Perry floating in zero gravity inside a spaceship with, what, 5 or 6 other women with a flower, contemplating space as she's looking out the window. I just can't believe another one after that. That was so fake that it must be real type thing. I don't know. But the Artemis thing looked real to me. I don't really know if they went up. But just when they took off from the launch pad, they didn't just keep going straight up into the air, man. They curved and started heading out over the ocean. So it's too hard to believe. And really, I don't care. I don't care. Oh, wow. Okay. Mickey and Nicole's, AJ and Susie's going to be there. Wow. Awesome, man. Yeah, General, we just had a couple of beautiful days here, didn't we? Pennsylvania has been so gorgeous the last couple of days. All right, Donald Trump, the king, has done more for oppressed people in the last 2 months than the entire global left has done in the last 30 years. Venezuela, Iran, Cuba, just to name a few. I mean, he's going gangbusters. Everything is working out really well, I believe. Yet they still want to call him a king, even though he's taking kings out all over the world. And to put that all in perspective, there we got Bernie Sanders, 40 years in office. How many evil dictators did he take out of office? None. Got Chucky Schumer putting his cheese on raw hamburgers on the grill. 52 years in office. How many dictators has he deposed? Oh, there's Ice Cream Joe Biden. 50 years in office, man. 50 years in office. How many billions of dollars did he give dictators. And contrast that all with 5 years in office, one man, not a politician, changing the fabric, the network of the world in 5 years. And not just President Trump, but the whole team and every single one of you and I. That's what we're fighting for. Let's just do a little blast from the past here on this one. They're telling us we're all white privileged people. Well, if white privilege exists, then why did Elizabeth Warren pretend to be an Indian? Yeah, well, when you put it that way, I guess there is no white privilege here. Why did she pretend to be an Indian if white privilege exists? Here's what we're talking about with the Save America Act. Fair elections would end the Democrat Party. I believe that. I firmly believe that. And that's why they won't do it. They will absolutely not pass that Save America Act. Our courts are totally screwed up. And it's becoming very obvious that the military is going to be the only way. Somehow or another, I don't see the whole end of the picture yet, but the military is going to have to step in here and do something. The ultimate whistleblower is going to have to be the President of the United States, who cannot be ignored, ran out of town, or anything, man. And then we'll open up these Trump derangement syndrome diagnostic centers all over the country. The U.S. government is now offering monthly disability checks to those with TDS. It might be the best way to handle these people. That might be the least expensive way to handle these people, actually. Yeah, Jay. Trump did roll her good, man. He got a lot of airplay out of Pocahontas. Carries more Indian than Pocahontas. Oh man. And yes, you too can join the Democrats if you are the party of weak men and miserable women. If you're a miserable woman, just consider yourself a Democrat. If you're a weak man, you are probably a Democrat. Voter ID does not prevent voting, it prevents cheating. You need an ID for everything. There is no excuse for this. This is the ultimate hypocrisy that's being exposed with the Save America Act and the fact that they will not pass it. It's going on a year now since that has been sitting on a desk in the Senate to be passed. And they keep sending it back to the House. They're doing everything they can to not have to pass that right there. All right, I think that's going to do it, Patriots. I'm going to wind us out here with Nash. And thanks for joining me. Thanks for staying plugged. You don't have to watch the whole video, but go back and watch that song at the beginning because it's on fire. It's a good one. And God, family, and country. That's all it is. In that order. If you got everything arranged with your relationship with God, focus on your family now. If you got everything, running smooth with the family, Now God has given you an opportunity to jump into the fray, to fight for this country, and to get our freedom back here in America, because it has been stolen from us, man. Yeah, and thanks for joining me here on this beautiful pond with the willow trees. I don't know if you can see the willow trees. They're beautiful. I thought there would be more flowers out here, but I don't know. They're not big on flowers at this park. And this is called Greenfield Industrial Park, okay? This used to be a farm, okay? This used to be several gigantic farms here in Pennsylvania. And we needed places for industry to move into this area because it was growing, right? And some rich people decided, all right, we're going to buy the farms and create an industrial park. And we're going to build some high density housing right here in the industrial park so the people that work here can live here. And then in order to reduce the flood control, they built all these ponds and stuff here. So there's a string of ponds from, like, I don't know, there's 4 ponds in a row right here. They put this beautiful walking path around the lakes. They got like sculptures that local artists have done. They planted all these cool trees. It's kind of like a botanical garden. It's a very beautiful place. But there were people that said, you can't build on the farms here. You got to leave them farms. If we lose these farms, we're never going to get them back and stuff, right? So there were lots of naysayers that were naysaying when they wanted to build this industrial park. This was built in the last 25 years here, or 30 years. It took about 30 years. And they're still continuing it on the other side. They bought another farm nearby. It's successful. It generates a lot of money for the area because these businesses move in. This company, I think it's called High Associates, builds these nice buildings for these companies to rent out and bring their industry to this area. So this is what I call progressive, okay? This isn't the progressive retardation that the Democrats try to sell you and make you want to hire DEI people. This is the progressive attitude that brings business to your area, that doesn't pollute your land, that creates beautiful spaces and gives a nice climate for people to rent a condominium, have a house in, and all that stuff. So I think this was a success. But even back in the day, there were naysayers to this project here. And there still are other farms in other areas that are not so close to the city. The reason it happened here was because these farms were near the city, and the city was slowly expanding, you know. Got to keep a limit on the expansion that we do. But if it can all look like this, I think it's a win-win scenario, because I don't work here. I don't have an apartment here, but I get to come here and enjoy this park, you know. They do fireworks shows here. I can come exercise. They got exercise stations at, 20 different spots on this trail. They got a pavilion that I can rent out and have a family picnic at. This is progress. This is progressive. Not the retarded progressive of the Democrats, man. This is the progressive MAGA people that are doing this, man. All right, J. Joe says the Straits is open. Oil is down to $82 a barrel. Thank you, Trump. But gas is still $4.30 a gallon here. How did that happen, Patriots? Who's ripping us off? Scott Bessent, show us the cards, man, because this has got to end. This has got to end. Corporate America is screwing us over with these gas prices, man. It never was Trump there in the beginning, man. So anyways, 2 hours is long enough. Holy smokes, did I just go 2 hours here? All right, Patriots, thanks for joining me. I'm going to sign us out. This is a gal singing the national anthem at TPUSA today. And Trump is going to be speaking at this TPUSA event later on today. So if you want to watch something, this should be good. This isn't a normal press conference. This is a TPUSA event that J.D. Vance spoke at yesterday or the day before. And tonight, Donald Trump, our president, the best president in history, is speaking at this TPUSA event tonight. So God bless you, Patriots. Thank you for joining me. This is Jericho, over and out.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? God bless y'all, God bless America, and God bless President Trump.